So I'm on to week 5 now with this tactical barbell template. Last week of endurance work, so today I've just done a massive session. So at the weekend I was doing a bit of Hyrox training at the gym that I go to, Hyrox affiliated gym. And since then I've been really interested in the Hyrox. I've been reading about it and watching stuff about it, and I thought, how could I do like a full, I wanted to do a full Hyrox basically. Just training, not competing. And I thought, how could I do one at home? So today I come up with like a full Hyrox simulation, and I'll just go through it today. So obviously Hyrox mainly is a running event basically. That's the anchor movement really. It's the 8 kilometre run. So 8 stations of 1 kilometre running. So I needed something that could substitute that. So I've decided to do bag work. So in place of the running, I've done 4 minutes of bag work for each running station. It's just something where I can put a sustained aerobic output on, keep a decent pace. Obviously it's not going to be as tough as running, but it's the best substitute I could really use at home, to be honest. So that was the station 1, 4 minutes of bag work. And then station 2, which should be the ski erg. So I think it's like 1,000 metre ski erg, which could take, I don't know, maybe between 3.5 and 5 minutes, depending on your fitness levels and capabilities. So for me, I decided, what can replicate a ski erg? Well, I've heard people say pull-ups, core crunches with the ropes. Obviously, I can't do any of them at home. So for me, the closest thing I could think of was a kettlebell swing, because with the ski erg, there is kind of a hinge movement to it. A hinge and a cardio effort. So I thought that a kettlebell swing would take care of those attributes, the hinge and the cardio effort. So that was station 2. And station 3 was back on the bag work. I didn't put a clip here of the bag work. And after station 3, it was supposed to be station 4, and that is supposed to be a sled push. Now, I was looking on the internet, having a scour, thinking what can replace a sled push, what can be used as an alternative, what are the muscles used? Well, obviously quads, glutes, just mainly legs to some degree. So a lot of people are saying front squats, goblet squats, things like that. So what I decided to do was to do a Tabata movement, and I used mountain climbers for 20 seconds, 10 seconds rest, and then straight into goblet squats with a 16 kg kettlebell for another 20 seconds. And I did that for 4 minutes. So the sled push was one of the tougher ones I was looking for to find an alternative to. This isn't really going to replicate a sled push, but in this position with the mountain climbing, you're kind of in this position. If you bent over pushing the sled, using the legs, obviously you're not pushing against any resistance. And then if you move into the goblet squats, I suppose you're getting a similar kind of workout. Obviously this is just very, very, what's the word? It's tough to do the Hyrox simulation at home, but this is the best I could think of. So this was station 4, replicating the sled push. So then back onto station 5, which is supposed to be the running. Back on the bag work, 4 minutes. Again, bag work, trying to keep the same pace. I was already feeling a bit tired here, but just kept going, kept popping those shots out. That's what you're going to do. My heart rate was up, I was starting to sweat. 4 minutes of that. So then, the next station, this is supposed to replicate the sled pull. Now this was the toughest one. This really, really was hard. It was so hard. I thought, what can replicate a sled pull? Well, obviously a pulling exercise. And I thought a rack pull would be perfect, basically, because you're kind of using a similar muscles and a similar position. I think men use 100 kilo in the Hyrox and 140 in the Pro. I was going to use 140, I'm so glad I didn't, because the 100 kilo absolutely smashed me. I'm just showing the first 2 20-second bursts here. Towards the end I was really struggling, the reps were dying down, it was taking a bit longer. But also because this is Deadlift Everyday, this is my deadlift for today. These are my deadlifts. Rack pull is a deadlift, so I didn't have to do any specific deadlift work today. My deadlift today is the rack pull. Then, again, straight back onto the bag. Now, I was feeling it after that sled pull. That taxed me more than most of the stations today. Although the farmer's carry alternative was quite tough. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, back onto the bag. Back on putting the output in, trying to keep the pace going. I might be slowing a little, but I was just kept throwing the punches out, man. That's what you got to do. Just, keep throwing them punches out. Keeping it going, steady. So then, the next one is supposed to be 80-metre burpee broad jumps. So obviously, it's an easy alternative to use here is to just do burpees. So I was looking at the amount of burpees you would usually find, or usually have to do, in an 80-metre burpee broad jump. And some were saying like 40, 45, 50 maybe. So I thought I'll just do 50. I've filmed them all here. So yeah, this is quite a long video today. I just wanted to get as much in as I could to go through it. Obviously, it was a very long session as well. It took me over 90 minutes in total. That was with, setting up different stations, moving the camera. A lot of it was setting up the different stations and setting up the camera and stuff like that. But yeah, so the burpee. Now, recently the burpees I've been doing have been like the strict 6-count burpees with the press up. But for this, I just decided to do your straight chest to floor burpee with a jump. And as this set progressed, the jumps got smaller and smaller because it was getting tougher and tougher. Burpees are not new to me. There's something I can get right into, and I'm pretty decent at burpees. I used to do hundreds and hundreds of these. So what I did is I did 20. I did 15. I had a rest. Then I did another 15. And then this is the next 15 here. And then I had 20 left. So I had another rest after that. And then on the last set, I just banged out 20 to get to the 50. And then I was really feeling it then. Really feeling it. But I tell you what, in just 5 weeks of doing this endurance work, my fitness has improved so much. Just in 5 weeks. And this is something I never really focused on before. I would just, once I got back into conditioning, I would just go straight into these high intensity workouts, hit sessions, 20-minute sprints on the treadmill and stuff like that. But I've realised now that there's real science to it, and the tactical barbell template works a treat, because all I've done is steady pace stuff, really. I did 3 30-minute sessions week 1, 3 40-minute sessions week 2, 3 50-minute sessions week 3, 3 hour-long sessions last week, and I've got 3 hour-long sessions to do this week. Obviously, this took me over 90 minutes. And then it's working. I just feel like I can go to the well more. Even though I'm getting tired out, which I am, I'm recovering pretty quickly. So my ability to sustain aerobic exercise has already improved massively just from these 5 weeks of endurance training. And obviously now, I'm feeling fit. So after that burpee marathon there, 50, it was back to the bag. As you can see, I'm slowing down a little bit now, and the power is not there the same, but I'm still banging the shots out. So next station was the 1,000-metre row, supposedly with the Hyrox. So what's the best alternative I could do for that? Well, what do you use in a rowing set? You use, obviously, a rowing movement and using your legs. So I'm thinking a row and a squat, something like that. So I decided on another Tabata, which was 20 seconds of barbell rows, then 10 seconds rest, and then going into 20 seconds straight of bodyweight squats. So I thought this was probably the best thing you could do to replicate like a rowing machine. So I tried to use the Versa grips at first, but they wouldn't fit round because they had my hand wraps on, so they wouldn't fit round that very well. So then I just got the figure 8s on for the rest of it. But yeah, I did this for 4 minutes. Again, quite tough. Obviously, it's not the perfect replication of a rowing machine, but it's probably the closest thing I could think of to do at home. I was looking for alternatives to the rowing machines. Not much else I could think of doing. I mean, if I had some heavy resistance bands, I suppose I could get into a crouch position and do rowing movements with that. But this is tough. Even 60 kilo felt heavy. Like I said, the rack pull station was so goddamn hard just with 100 key. So then back to the bag, and we're still pumping those shots out. 4 minutes sustained effort. You know, the amount of sweat that's coming off me now is crazy. I'm really feeling it, but I'm enjoying it. Funnily enough, I like these long endurance sessions. Something about them that I like. So then, this was harder than I thought. So it's a farmer's carry to the next station in the Hyrox. I think it's either 24 kg or 32, depending on your ability level. I haven't got anything heavier I can hold really than a 24k kettlebell. I've only got one of them, so I decided to hold 2 20k plates in each hand and march on the spot for 3 minutes. Now I have to admit, after just over a minute, I had to put these plates down, and during the 3 minutes, I must have put them down 4 or 5 times. I have got a weak grip. I must have a weak grip. I don't think the hand wraps help, but yeah, this was not a good station for me. But I got my wind back, really, because it wasn't that taxing cardio-wise. And obviously, there's probably something better I could do to replicate the farmer's carry. But then it was straight back onto the bag after that. So then, the next station was supposed to be sandbag lunges. So what I did was I did the reverse lunges with the 20 kg bar. So I put my mat in place and I ended up doing 100 of these. So this is the best thing I could think of doing to replicate the sandbag lunges. And this was tough. This was quite tough. This was getting me, my legs were frying after this. I did think of maybe putting the backpack on, putting 45 pound in the backpack and doing lunges. But this worked just as good. Now, obviously, with the sandbag lunges, you're doing forward lunges. These are reverse lunges. But this, like I say, it's a good alternative. So I broke it up into 5 sets of 20. And this is the last set of 20 now. Legs were burning after this. Again, I'm sure this isn't quite as difficult as doing the sandbag lunges where you're using the momentum and you're actually walking forward. But in terms of a substitute, this is probably the best thing I could think of. Like I say, now I'm getting towards the end now. I'm struggling, but still going. Just got one more station left of bag work, and then I'm on to like the final exercise station. So after the lunges, then we're back on the bag. This is the last 4 minutes on the bag. Still trying to keep that pace up. I'm still managing to keep a decent pace, which was quite good. I'm quite pleased with that, but glad to get it over. So then the last station. So the last station on Hyrox is 100 wall balls with either 6 kilogram or 9 kilogram, depending on if you're doing the pro or just the men's. So I just decided to do 100 squat to presses with a 10 kilogram plate. On the first set, I managed to get 25 without stopping. The quads was absolutely frying off these. But then the next set, I thought I'll do 4 sets of 25. That wasn't happening. Next set, I just managed 15. And then I worked up in 10s then until I got to 80. And then had a little rest, maybe 30, 40 seconds. And then I just banged out the last 20 then to get to 100. So obviously with the wall balls, you've got it's a bit harder because you've got to actually throw the ball. It's got to hit a target, then you've got to catch it. And as well, they're supposed to be quite strict on the depth of the squat, like with the powerlifting, the crease of the hip's got to go below the knee. So you can't just go through the motions with these. So here it is, the last 20. I've been going actually over 90 minutes now. And I'm really feeling it. And this top, when I took this top off, it looked like I had been just stood in a shower with my top on. So that was it. A full Hyrox simulation done at home with no running and no equipment. 90 minutes of sustained effort, aerobic output, whatever you want to call it. Absolutely tough. One of the hardest sessions I've done. But definitely feeling fit after these 5 weeks of endurance work.